everyone, or at least I have, once in my life had a meal of Sodexo. But have you thought about what goes on behind the kitchen doors? Sodexo is very ambitious when it comes to the fight against food waste. In order to have a clear understanding of how much food of waste sources, Sodexo transitioned to a data-driven food waste prevention program. So this was right before COVID hit. You can only imagine. Nevertheless, Valentine Boone from Sodexo is here to talk about valuable insights that they have already gained from this program and their ambition as a WAW brand, and about how they will reach their food waste targets. So, Valentine, welcome in the studio.
You.
So, what does go on behind the kitchen? How does Sodexo deal with food waste?
So I'm firstly very happy to learn that you already ate in Sodexo in the past, so that's already good news. So I don't have my slides. This is not me.
Yeah.
That's me, voilà. Yeah. So at Sodexo, we have our mission Zero Waste, and so we really tried to have it in different phases. So first phase would really to do some prevention to avoid to have food waste at the end. This is by using our menu management system, so to plan the menus in advance, to be linked to the portion books that we have, but also to use our WasteWatch by LeanPad tool, which we will talk about just after that. Then the second step, because we're in catering, we have catering activities, we always have food waste. There are different options. One of them would be to use apps like Too Good To Go or Phoenix apps to sell the food that is remaining at the end, or to work with food banks and to integrate this in our Stop Hunger activities to really promote food banks and donations. And at the end, if we really do have food waste, but it can be trim waste, it can be all food waste, we would go rather to biomethanization or composting. So really to avoid having to send to landfill.
So what is the motivation of Sodexo to put a lot of effort into fighting food waste?
So motivation, I think it's like everyone else that came today. We're all aware that we have a third of the food that is wasted, and that the food that is wasted is having an impact on carbon footprint. So I think everyone in the food public and the catering activities are aware of that. And so at Sodexo, we really have the ambition to reduce our carbon footprint by 50% by 2025. And one of the levers that we chose is also to fight food waste and to reduce it by 50% also by 2025.
All right. Big ambition. And to do this, you've told us about it, you work with this platform, WasteWatch by LeanPad. Can you tell us a bit more about how that works?
Yeah. So we have this contract with LeanPad, so on global level, and it's divided in 3 steps. First of it is to track. So that is really happening in the kitchen cells with the operational teams. And we're going to track all food that is going to be wasted. That means everything that is going to be thrown away. So if we have potatoes that are left, but that we can reuse them the day after, we're not measuring them. So 2 different things: pre-consumer waste, so everything in the kitchen and in the serving area, so everything that doesn't come on the plate of the consumers, and post-consumer waste. So that's everything that comes back from the plates. And so we asked the kitchen teams, the operational teams, to be very accurate in the results and the measurements that they do, so that they could always measure the same things in the same categories. So we asked them to measure if it's vegetables, if it's meat, if it's lettuce, because lettuce is not the same impact as a tomato. And so all the data is then coming on the platform. So that's the second step. We monitor, we get all the data. And the data that we receive, the site manager can handle it on site, and we can also monitor it on global level for all Belgium. So we have 180 sites in Belgium, which is big. We started in 2019 with 13 sites, pilot sites, and we had a massive deployment in 2020, which hasn't been easy with the COVID situation and the COVID impacts. But now today we're really trying to get the 180 sites in the story and to measure daily the food waste. And so the last step, once they track, they monitor, we ask them to reach their baseline. Baseline is really the first real step that they are going to have. From that baseline, we will be able to fix some actions. Actions to reduce food waste and to be able to answer the ambition that we all have. And really by trying to get the operational teams in the program. That's trying to put it
in a nutshell. That was very good. So you talked about, it requires a lot of effort. You know, you're asking, okay, we have to know, is it a salad, a tomato, all these things. I can imagine that this is an extra effort from the personnel working in the kitchens. How do you motivate people to jump in the story and tag along?
It's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy to get everyone in the story. So we're really trying to sensibilize them, to get them to be ambassadors, really to understand why they're doing it, because everyone is impacted by food waste at home, but also at work. And so it's really important for them to understand the why. How we try to do it is like we have some operational, I have operational colleagues going on different sites, really to motivate the kitchen teams. I'm also trying to create really a community to fight food waste. I'm sending newsletters, trying to highlight some numbers and some facts to really make them get in the community and participate to it.
Talking about numbers, so at Sodexo, what is the total loss? What are we talking about? How do you express these figures?
Yeah, if I talk about the waste that is recorded in the system since the beginning, so since 2019, we have 700,000 kilos recorded. We can't neglect the COVID impact on those numbers, because we have a lot of sites that has been open and closed, or to get the people in the story, because there are always other priorities in the kitchens than to waste, to measure food waste. But nevertheless, they're doing it. We have more than 50% of our trackers that are very active on a daily basis, so that is good. So I was talking about the baseline. The baseline permits us to get the number of kilos that have been prevented by using the system. So if we look to 2021, we see that we have 200,000 kilos prevented, which is a lot if we just look at the numbers. We also get the results in value, but I don't really like using that because it's not directly linked to the catalogus. And with all the crises that we're going through and with inflation, those data are just numbers that can be used for sensibilization, but they're not scientifically correct. But then we also have some equivalencies that are measured in the platform itself, so the kitchens don't have to do it by themselves. The platform is doing everything. The metric tons of CO2 that are avoided, the bathtubs that are being conserved, and the saved meals. So these are all data that are measured by the system itself.
There were many crises, I can only imagine, but nevertheless, are there some trends? Are there some insights that you can see about the canteens locally?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot. So if we look at the numbers for whole Belgium, we see that soup, potatoes, and vegetables are the top 3 wasted ingredients, which is kind of obvious because soup is in every kitchen. We have soup on a daily basis. And then we can link this also to the, why are we losing it? What are the reasons? And more than 60% of it is overproduction. So we know that we can work on those top 3 or top 5 categories kind of easily because it's linked to overproduction. And then we also have trim waste, which is a big percentage also. What is interesting is to go a bit deep dive in the numbers and to compare the results of the corporate sites, so adults, and senior and healthcare, which are open 7 days on 7 and have several meals on the day. In corporate sites, we realized that we could work on bread, for example, because we're making sandwiches, we have a lot of bread. In senior sites, we see that potatoes and vegetables are higher than in corporate sites. That's linked to the menus, so it's kind of normal that the results are different. And we also noticed that we could work on the sauces, for example. A funny fact that we also get from the numbers is to see that on Friday is the day that we waste most, which is logical because it's the end of the week. They're throwing before the weekend. And so we could maybe try in the future to have a Friday waste-free meal or something like that to avoid the Friday peak.
Yeah. Sounds wonderful. I'm surprised about the potatoes because Belgians really like potatoes.
Yeah, but Belgium have a lot of potatoes on the menus.
Yeah,
Especially old people.
All right. We talked in many conversations before already about, okay, so you have your own canteen, kitchen facility, but what about the supplier side? You also have food suppliers. How do you take that into account?
So today we're not really working with the suppliers yet, but we know that we have to do this in the future to work on the volumes, on the packaging, because that has an impact and all the kitchens are different and have different realities. Sometimes 5 kilos is okay and is sufficient. Sometimes we need 20 kilos and we don't need the same packaging, but that is for later.
Yeah. All right, the future. We'll talk again.
Yeah.
So you have all this data and it gives you results and you have ideas, but how do you analyze this data and how do you feed it back into the daily operation? I can imagine it's a big thing to do.
So as explained before, so all the data is really sent to this platform, Leanpad Online, and we ask the sites at the first level to take action directly with the results that they get. So the platform is proposing itself some solutions and some actions to take. So that's the easiest way. It's directly, because it's difficult for us to manage 180 different sites at once. We also need to really build and strengthen this community of operationals talking and being ambassadors to tackle food waste. So that's
yeah, got it. So what are the biggest challenges you're working with at the moment?
So I said ownership of everyone, that everyone gets in the story and that everyone really understands the why they're doing it. COVID-19 and the different crises that we're going through in the catering activities are really having a big impact, so that's also not to neglect. Someone before me was also talking about the accuracy of the results, because all kitchens are doing it in the kitchen with the kitchen teams. They always have to put it in the same way in the system. So if they choose trim waste, they'll all have to choose trim waste and don't put it in overproduction. Just making it out, but so that's generality. One of the difficult things is also to keep WasteWatch alive, because using it daily, it really needs to be implemented in the job descriptions and in the daily work of the teams. What also is difficult is that we're working with client teams and not only Sodexo teams, and so we have to get the client teams also to get in the story and to understand why they're doing it. And the last one, Sibyl before just talked a little bit about it as well, is the tenders. So we're linked to clients by tenders, which have portion books. And so we have to be able to go in discussion with the clients when we have the results to make them understand that maybe we have to review the portion books and adapt them to the realities.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to throw in one question from the audience. How many kitchens are already measuring? They're asking how many sites are measuring now and how many would you like to have measuring in the future from those 180, I believe it was.
So 180 is the number of kitchens using WasteWatch.
Aha, okay, yeah.
Because we have more kitchens in Belgium. So 180 is really what we're having today. We're still 10 to 20 sites where we're behind them to get them use it, but we're 180.
And can I, out of a total of how many kitchens, do you know the number?
600. I don't remember by heart.
Yeah. So it's a big, big part. Okay.
So one of the ambition is to be on more than 85% on the sites, but in volume. So it's a bit a weird number, but to go really on the big sites in the beginning. Yeah.
All right. So this is Sodexo. Do you have a recommendation to other kitchen teams why they should start measuring?
A lot. So first of it, I think as catering activities, we really need to be ambassadors environmental leads in the food waste tackling. Food waste tackling is also very unifying, like Sibyl said before. I think it's very important to really get this community and really work all together. And we know that when we throw food away, we're throwing euros away. We know it. And so by avoiding throwing euros away, we can invest these euros in local products, for example, in organic products, to higher the quality of the menus, for example. And yeah, what gets measured gets done. So it's important that everyone gets in the story and goes for the food waste tackling.
Yeah, I hear the words from Brian echo. But how do you look at smaller kitchens? Because I can imagine if I'm a canteen, but a small scale one, Sodexo is quite large. How do you think, to what extent would measuring food waste also be valuable for a smaller kitchen?
We indeed are very different. We don't have the same structure and the same people behind it. But I think food waste is concerning everyone, and everyone should be measuring it. Maybe not using programs like LeanPad because that's very specific and it costs also. But there are easy ways to measure food waste in smaller kitchens and to tackle it on a smaller level.
Yeah.
So everyone has the same ambition, I think.
Okay, cool. I like that. All right. Thank you very much, Valentine, for being here today.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, same.